Hello, this is Nick from ThreatX3 Productions, and today we're going to do something a little different, and that is we're just going to do a topic. From the title you can see the one thing in Left 4 Dead that even Back 4 Blood couldn't get right. So what exactly does that mean? You know, it's going to be a discussion piece. I'm going to discuss that, obviously. I will do a little bit of impressions of Back 4 Blood, so if you would like to know what I think about it, you know, you'll get that as well. But that's going to be the main topic for today. So let's go ahead and start off with what I think about Back 4 Blood. I was able to play the beta, and I enjoyed it, sure, and it was okay, sure. And then I played it on launch day, and once again, it was good, and I do like it. I just don't love it. You know, there's plenty that is the same about Left 4 Dead, and the card system does kind of make it feel new, but unfortunately I just don't think that there's enough to really set it apart from Left 4 Dead. And I'd actually argue that there are certain games out there that have kind of copied the Left 4 Dead formula and actually iterated on it more so than Back 4 Blood did. And the only problem I have with that is that the creators of the game pretty much said that, oh, we're taking the genre we made and we're making it better. And it's like, I just don't think the card system is enough to make that statement true. I think personally one of the best examples of taking the Left 4 Dead formula and iterating on it to make it better is actually Vermintide and Vermintide 2. In these games, you have very typical Left 4 Dead type of combat, different enemies, the randomosity of it and all, but it does also add this layer of RPG where you feel there's progression. So you might start on, you know, the easiest difficulty, and then as you're able to get more and more loot and more rare loot, then you can start taking on the much harder difficulties and you feel like you have a better chance. And that progression is definitely something I feel like is missing from Back 4 Blood. And once again, you do have the card system, yes, technically, but also at the same time, I just feel like it's not enough to really make it feel like that. Now, these are first impressions. I could end up getting 10 more hours into it and realize that, oh no, these cards completely changed the game and, you know, yada, yada, yada. So I could be eating my words in another 10 hours. Hey everybody, Editing Nick here, and past Nick still has a good point about the cards not being 100%, you know, game changing. However, I have had more time with it and more rare pickups, and I can definitely start to see that this does have a valid progression, which is something I was complaining about. It does have progression, but I would like to still point out the fact that it's random which cards you can pick up. You can still build a deck, and so you can fill it with all the cards you really, really like, but it's still random when and where you can get those cards. So, you know, take that as you will. But then let's return back to the title of the video, and that is the one thing that Left 4 Dead did that even Back 4 Blood couldn't do, and that is the mission structure, or rather the campaign structure. Left 4 Dead, one of the main reasons I love it, and one of the main reasons I think it is so iconic, is when you start up the game, you get to choose from all these iconic campaigns. Each of them have at least 3 acts, and some of them even have 4 acts, or, you know, a majority of them have 4 acts. And so those 4 acts really feel like a movie, because the first one's always pretty easy, but you still have some hard parts, and it just crescendos into this big climax, and then you either escape or you move on to the next area. And what was really great about this is that each of the areas were very kind of loosely tied together, and the only thing that was really the same was the characters. So it really felt like either watching a movie and then watching the sequel to that movie and then watching another sequel sequel and another sequel. And that feeling of the different campaigns, no other Left 4 Dead copy or even Back 4 Blood has really been able to capture that magic again. A lot of Left 4 Dead like games, like let's talk about Payday. Payday 1 and 2 is very mission structure. You go into a mission, you complete the mission, and then you get out. Even Vermintide, the one I'm saying that is, maybe above Left 4 Dead or at least above Back 4 Blood, in my opinion, even that is very much a mission structure. Now, the missions do kind of flow into each other, but even still, not so much. Then you have a game like Earthfall, which is just Left 4 Dead, but with aliens. Same thing. It's mission by mission by mission. No other game that has either tried to copy, or in this case, Back 4 Blood, which is the same creators, no game has been able to really find that magic. And for me, that magic is the way the campaigns are structured, the way it crescendos and everything. Now, I'm not saying that the mission structure in Back 4 Blood is horrible by any means, but it's just not the same when you have acts 1, 2, and 3, and each act is made up of various numbers of missions. They're not even consistent with how many numbers of missions there are. And this doesn't make it seem like a movie, maybe like a season of a TV show, but it definitely just doesn't feel like a movie. And that magic, for me personally, is what made Left 4 Dead. Being able to play No Mercy and feel like I played through a movie with a beginning, a middle, and end. And then I can move on to Crash Course, which was like the sequel to it. The helicopter crashed, and then you made your way to the highway on Death Toll. And so each of these campaigns do go together, but at the same time, each campaign feels like its own standalone story. Each standalone zombie story, and I love that about it. And that is magic. That is something that no other game has been able to, even just other games in general, no other game has been able to capture that magic quite the same. And now you have Back 4 Blood. They're trying it again and still wasn't able to find that magic. Now, on the one hand, having a story beginning, middle, and end that goes throughout the entire game rather than little chapters or little campaigns is good. It just doesn't feel right. Like, here's an example right here. You have these 4 missions that are together, and that 4th mission definitely feels like it's a high point. And then you have these missions, and that last little dot right there is a mission that feels like a high point. But then you have these 2 right here, which just kind of feel like filler, and so on and so on. It just doesn't quite have that same feeling, that same awe and wonder that I remember having playing the Left 4 Dead games. It's not a big deal, and it's definitely nothing that breaks my immersion or breaks my enjoyment of the game, but it's just one of those things that if they would have had it, it would have made it, just that little bit extra. A good example for the positive side is playing through this. I was able to pick up an LMG, and I kept it from the 2nd chapter all the way 6 chapters later. But then that's also sort of a negative, because I found this comforting weapon, this crutch in a way, and I just held on to it and I didn't let it go. Instead of experimenting with other weapons, I kept the one that I was really comfortable with, and I only used that. Now, you could argue quite successfully that you could do the same thing in Left 4 Dead, but because you had to break up after every 4th mission or whatever, you had to go back in and you were at the mercy of the randomness, both enemies, weapon placements, and everything. And that really made it seem more like kind of maybe guerrilla warfare, where you were just using what was around you. So the campaigns and the chapters themselves, it gave it this different feeling. And so now you seem highly militarized in Back 4 Blood, which isn't a negative necessarily, but it's still just not the same. It doesn't have that same magic that I personally remember. But, hey, that is personally my opinion and what I think about, saying magic 60 times in a video. What do you think? Have you played Back 4 Blood? Are you interested in playing Back 4 Blood? Once again, this wasn't necessarily a review, but rather just that one little thing in the back of my head that I'm not quite sure about. I would like to have a review discussion, and that will most likely be with me and Nate, and that'll be once we get through the whole thing and really give it some time to sink in, rather than just pumping out a review right off the bat. So until then, this is what you get. I hope you liked it. I hope you have a great day. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and all that. And we are going to have a giveaway for $100 just in time for Black Friday. So if you want to, all you have to do is like this, subscribe, kind of the typical things. Just like, share, subscribe. That would be awesome. Just, kind of help us feed that algorithm, and we will definitely love to reward you just in time for Black Friday and Thanksgiving. So, all right, I was Nick from Threat X3 Productions, and you have yourself a good day.